I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the last two important topics that are left out in this chapter are, we need to calculate. I'm just going to teach you the method to calculate. 1 minute. Time period of the first wire we are going to see for a simple pendulum, and the second we are going to see for a spring and a block system. Okay. So these are the two time periods that we are going to derive. That is for objects which are in oscillation. Okay. Now, see, there are certain steps to be followed. So steps that I'm going to tell you are not only applicable for these two concepts, it is applicable for any problem you do in simple pendulum. Okay. Steps to be followed, any problem where you need to calculate time period. Steps to be followed to solve problems in SH. First is draw a free body diagram. Second, once you draw the free body diagram, find the unbalanced force responsible for the system to come back to its mean position. Okay. Third, equate the unbalanced force. The unbalanced force that I'm trying to talk here is nothing but the restoring force. Unbalanced force can also be called as restoring force. Equate the restoring force to M into A. Okay. Once you do that, from step 3, obtain expression for acceleration in terms of displacement. Obtain the expression for acceleration in terms of displacement. Fifth step is compare the expression obtained in fourth step with A is equal to minus omega square x. Okay. Compare the expression obtained in step number 4 with A is equal to minus omega square x, or if at all you're talking about rotation, you'll see this kind of expression also. Alpha is equal to minus omega square theta, where alpha stands for angular acceleration and theta stands for angular displacement. Okay. Alpha is equal to minus omega square theta. This is also applicable. It will be dependent on the problem, whether you're trying to solve a problem in translatory motion or rotation motion. If you're doing a problem based on translatory, you will get A is equal to minus omega square x. If you're solving a problem based on rotational, you will get minus omega square theta.
So you can see what theta stands for?
Angular displacement. Theta is angular displacement. Okay. Sixth step. Obtain the expression for omega from above step. And the last step is write omega is equal to 2 pi by t and find t is equal to what? And just find t, that's it. No question mark. Just find t. See, these are the steps you need to follow for any problem irrespective of its chapter. For example, if there is a problem which is based on fluid dynamics and it is in simple harmonic motion, if you follow these 7 steps, you will get the answer. If it is from some other, if let's say it is from gravitation, it is based on, you need to calculate time period. Follow 7 steps, you will get the answer. Okay. This you will not find it in book. Please make a note. So once you are done, I'll proceed. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Listen. This is easier. Okay. Right. Now let's see. So we'll calculate the time period of a simple pendulum. Let's see how to do. So let's say you have a simple pendulum which is suspended with the help of a string of length L. Let's say it is displaced to this point where it is making an angle theta with the vertical, and then it is released. In the sense, the force that you have applied is released on it. Now, what are all the forces that are going to act on the bob at point A?
Restoring force, sir.
Yes. One is mg. And if this is theta, this is also theta. Then this will be mg cos theta, and this will be mg sin theta. Okay. So here, tell me, is the pendulum in a translatory motion or a kind of rotation motion? Is the bob rotating or is it in translatory motion? So when I say translatory, it should be in a straight line path.
Rotational, sir.
It is rotational motion, right? And remember this point, let me call it as P. Now observe, guys. It is due to whom? It is due to the mg sin theta that the bob is actually coming back to its original position. Correct? Now my question is, so let's say, let's verify whether we have followed the steps. I've drawn the free body diagram. I found out what is unbalanced force which is responsible for the object to come back.
So how did you find the unbalanced force?
Because I showed no. Which direction is the, see, practically when you see in which direction is the bob going to come? Towards its mean position. From A to O, no. Which force is going to pull the object from A to O? Obviously, it is mg sine theta. So that is the unbalanced force.
Restoring force is unbalanced.
Restoring force is unbalanced force. That's what I wrote here. No?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Equate the unbalanced force to MA, or please add another point. Unbalanced torque to I alpha. Please make a note. I forgot to write this. If you have unbalanced force, equate it to MA. If you have an unbalanced torque, equate it to I alpha, because torque is equal to I alpha. I explained it in the 7th chapter. Right. From step 3, obtain the expression for A. I'll write another point, or alpha, in terms of displacement or theta. Please make note. When I say displacement in terms of x, when I say in terms of theta, it is in terms of angular displacement. So I'm repeating the step. Please add this point. From step number 3, obtain the expression for a acceleration or angular acceleration in terms of displacement or angular displacement. Shall I proceed, guys? Now see.
So 1 minute, could you show it again?
Yeah, sure. In terms of displacement, in the bracket you can write it as x. Displacement is x, or theta. Theta is angular displacement.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So remaining steps are right. There is nothing else to add. Now, what is the torque? What is the torque experienced by the bob about point O? What is the torque experienced by the bob about point O? Let's go. This is the axis of rotation about which it is revolving. We know a formula. Torque is equal to, in terms of magnitude, force into perpendicular distance. You know this, right? Torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. To restore the object, which force is trying to restore the object?
mg sin theta.
mg sin theta multiplied with, remember, mg sin theta and L are perpendicular because,
Sir, your voice is low, sir.
okay,
Your voice is low.
so remember, mg sin theta will be perpendicular to length because mg sin theta and mg cos theta are rectangular components. They are perpendicular components, right? When mg sin theta is along mg cos theta is along the length, then mg sin theta will be perpendicular to length. So what is going to be the perpendicular distance from mg sin theta to point P? It is AP. That is nothing but mg sin theta multiplied with L. Guys, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the restoring torque that is acting on this bob. That is mg sine theta into L. Okay. Let me call this as equation number 1. I'll make it. Let this be equation number 1. For theta being very small, okay. Whenever the value of theta, where theta is measured in radians, whenever theta is very small, then an important point to be observed is sine theta can be approximated to tan theta, that can be approximated to theta. This comes from the idea of limits. Okay, whenever theta is very small, sine theta and tan theta are almost equal, because what is sine 0? Sine 0 is 0, tan 0 is 0. Sine 0.00001 radian will be approximately equal to 0.0001 radian only. It is that small value. Okay. So whenever the value of theta is small, sine theta is approximated to tan theta is approximated to theta. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this case is that implies torque is equal to mg into theta into L, because here we need to consider theta to be very small. This is one approximation that we are doing. Okay. So this is how we are obtaining. So what is the approximation if they ask? You need to say that the value of theta is very small. The angle made by the pendulum with the vertical is small. Is it clear till this step, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So what is that you got? Torque is equal to mgl into theta. Now see, since it's a restoring torque, torque will be equal to minus mgl into theta. I hope you understood why I wrote that minus. The negative sign indicates it's a restoring torque. Okay. So torque is equal to minus mgl into theta. Let me call this as equation number 2. Once you find, listen, let me show, then you can copy it. Okay, concentrate. Okay. Once you find the restoring torque, what are we supposed to do? You need to equate it to I alpha. So we know that torque is equal to I alpha, which implies minus mgl into theta is equal to I into alpha. But what is the value of I in this case? I is moment of inertia. So what is the formula for moment of inertia of a particle? Moment of inertia of a particle is equal to mass into distance. So the mass is here. And how much is the distance from A to P?
L, sir.
It is m into L square. Let us see. Let us see 3, let us see 4. Take 4 and substitute it here. What will you get? You will get minus mgl into theta is equal to ml square into alpha. Correct? M and M are gone, L and L are gone, which implies alpha is equal to how much, guys? Minus
G divided by L into theta. Let us see equation number 5. There is the most important step in the derivation.
So alpha is equal to minus g by L into theta. Please make a note. See, since I'm explaining this, the derivation is going big. Actually, if you see, it is only 5 to 6 steps. Okay. After I complete this, I'll give you a simplified version of how you can practice. So alpha is equal to minus g by L into theta. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So, shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after you obtain alpha, what are you supposed to compare it with? Comparing alpha with minus omega square theta, we get minus g by L into theta is equal to minus omega square theta. Correct? Minus are gone, theta is gone. So omega square will be equal to g by L, which implies omega is equal to root of g by L. From this we can write, what is omega, guys? 2 pi by t is equal to root of g by L. So what will be the value of time period? You remember we saw this formula in the first chapter itself. We calculated the error in the time period of simple pendulum. They would have told the time period of a simple pendulum is given as 2 pi root of L divided by G. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Let me know once you're done.
So could you go to the starting of the derivation once, and where the torque came in? Yes, sir. Just a minute. So could you explain again why theta is very small, sir?
That is how we take it. This formula is applicable only when the angle is small.
We are considering it like that.
They are considering. It is not necessary that theta has to be small. You can pull it to whatever distance and you can do it. See, that is how the derivation is actually, okay? But if you do it on a practical basis and see how much ever angle you try to pull it to, because the final expression is independent of angle, right? Nowhere you have sin theta or cos theta. So how much ever angle you try to pull it and release, no, there will be a small variation, microsecond variation in terms of the values. See, have you done this experiment? Any idea how you do it? In the lab, you'll have a stopwatch. They'll give you a simple pendulum of, let's say you take off two different lengths. If the length is changing, time period will definitely change. Okay. Let's say you pull it to this distance and leave it. Once you start the stopwatch, you calculate, let's say 10 oscillations. You will calculate the total time for 10 oscillations. And if you divide it with, and you will get a time, let's say you're getting it as 2.32 seconds, something like that. Okay, it's very fast actually. If you divide it with 10, you will get it as 0.232 seconds for one oscillation. That is the time period of one oscillation. So there you are calculating it practically using a stopwatch. How will you verify whether that value is right or wrong? By substituting it in this formula. You will calculate the length of the thread that you have in your hand. You will substitute the value of G, and when you multiply it with 2 pi, the practical answer, that is this stopwatch answer, should match with this theoretical answer. Okay.
Sir.
But to be very precise, there will be a slight variation. Definitely it will appear. It might be due to any error, because there is definitely air resistance that is going to exist depending on the lab conditions you're doing. Suppose you switch on the fan and do, the speed might vary. Okay, if you don't switch it on, it will be something else. Okay, but the answer should be close by. Every experiment will have an error.
Okay.
So to answer your question, in this derivation, we are assuming theta to be small.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I'll tell you how you can do it in few steps. You can practice it like this. So once you complete the free body diagram, then torque acting about point P is mgl sine theta. You will write that force into perpendicular distance. Right, force is mg sine theta, and the perpendicular distance is L. Okay. Secondly, you will write the restoring torque as minus mgl sine theta. And third step, you will write, since theta is small, torque acting about point P is minus mgl into theta. Okay. And torque is equal to I alpha, and I is equal to ml square. Okay. So minus mgl into theta will be equal to ml square into alpha. L and L will get cancelled. M and M will get cancelled. Alpha will be minus G by L into theta. So comparing this with minus omega square theta, you will get omega is equal to root of G by L. T will be equal to 2 pi root of L by G. So these are the steps. So when you're practicing, you need not write everything, okay? See, but when you write it in the exam, this is how you need to do. You need to write why that particular expression has come. But when you're practicing it for your purpose, you can actually do it like this, so that you will remember the intermediate steps. Now, if you practice it like this, there will be a point where you can skip few steps also and obtain the final expression. Then you will get used to it. Okay. I hope this is clear. Shall I proceed to the next one? Now listen. The next derivation is time period of a spring block system. Is it better now? Is my voice better now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it was closer. Now it is better, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the time period of a spring and a block system. Okay. So this is simple again. It's not like the previous one. I'll just ask you some basic questions. You people answer, and you will get the time period in no time. It's simple. Third scenario. Okay. So there is a spring, okay, which is connected to a ceiling, and it is left. A spring will have a length associated, which is called as the natural length, right? Now, when you suspend a block to the spring, what will happen? When a block is suspended to the spring, you tell me what will happen to the spring. Will the spring experience a pulling force or a pushing force in the vertical direction? Is my question clear? So when I take a block and connect it across the spring at the bottom, will the spring experience a pulling force or a pushing force in the vertical direction? Vertical in this direction.
When we pull, sir,
We will not pull. You will just connect the block and leave. You will remove you will just, let's say there is a small magnet here. You're going to connect a block and you'll remove your hand. That's it. What will the block actually do?
we pull the spring, sir.
Pull the spring. So it is a pulling force. So pulling force will always cause an elongation, right? So there is going to be some elongation. When I say elongation, the distance between the consecutive windings is going to increase. So if I take the bottom of the spring's natural length to be the reference, can I say there is going to be an elongation x naught? Is there going to be some elongation? Let me call it as x naught. So when is the elongation going to stop? Is it going to be a continuous process? Will the spring get elongated till infinite length? Obviously no, right? So when will it stop? When the weight of the block that is suspended exactly matches with whom? If it exactly matches with the restoring force that is experienced, produced by the spring of value how much? K times x naught. Guys, are you able to understand this? So when mg is equal to kx naught, I can say the elongation stops. That is, the spring has got elongated till a particular value. Okay. Now what will happen if I apply an additional force in the direction of mg and release it? If I apply an additional force in this direction, that is to the already existing mg, if I pull it with my hand in the downward direction, what do you think will happen to the spring now? Guys, are you there?
It will expand more.
It will get expanded more, but there will be something else also that will happen. What is it? It will expand more, that is right. There's the natural length. This x naught. So from x naught, if I try to pull it to a very small distance x and release it, it will start experiencing a restoring force of how much value now?
K of x naught plus x.
Very good. It will experience k into x naught. But the second scenario told me that the balancing will take place only if there is a restoring force of how much value? The spring and the block is under a balanced scenario when the restoring force acting is how much value? Kx naught. When the value has increased from Kx naught to Kx naught plus x, can I say that there is some extra unbalanced force that is acting on this object? What is the extra unbalanced force that is acting on the object? The extra unbalanced force came because of the extra elongation that we gave compared to its balanced length. Correct? Huh? Guys, are you able to understand? So, due to this, what I'm trying to say is, naturally what happened, if it is only the spring and the block system, that is like how it happened in the case number 2. When I just connected the block and left it, the block brought the spring to such an extent and tried to balance under what scenario mathematically when the weight of the block was exactly equal to the restoring force. So the block elongated the spring by a distance of x naught compared to its original length. Right. After that, the system came to equilibrium. There was no disturbance. But what did I do to that? I created a small disturbance by elongating it even more. So with respect to x naught, I've elongated it even more by distance of how much value? By distance small x, and I removed my hand. So what happened is mg is still acting, but my hand is removed. So what will be the restoring force? K x naught plus x is what is going to act in the third scenario. But what is the counter force that is acting to this K into x naught plus x? It is only mg. Will this mg be able to balance that restoring force?
No, sir.
Because mg can balance only when the value is k into x naught. Now it is not k into x naught anymore, it is k into x naught plus x. So it will not be able to balance, due to which what will happen is the spring and the block system will start oscillating. Does it make sense? Oscillating in the sense, this restoring force also can't stop the object exactly, can't stop the block exactly here. It will get compressed. After getting compressed again, it will come back in the reverse direction. So it will start oscillating. So once it starts oscillating, it will have a time period associated with it. And our work is to calculate what is that value of time period. Did you understand this? Okay. Got it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is the whole physics behind the oscillation of a spring and a block system. Now our job is simple. See, mathematical part in this case is very simple. Look at the way I'm going to write. K into x naught plus x, which is acting in the, so for wherever it is restoring, I'm going to use a minus sign. Okay. Okay, I'll write it like this. The net force on the block and spring system, 1 minute. Net force on block and spring system under what scenario? In case 3 is given by what? Can I write it as K into x naught plus x minus mg is equal to minus m into a. I wrote a minus m into a here because it's a restoring force. Try to understand, guys. K into x naught plus x is acting in the upward direction, mg is acting in the downward direction. Acceleration will take place towards the mean position. So since it's a restoring force, I added a minus sign. Okay. So when I expand it, kx naught plus kx minus mg is equal to minus ma. But what is the value of kx naught mathematically equal to? But we know that kx naught is how much? Mg. Which implies kx naught and kx naught will get cancelled. Kx will be equal to minus ma, which implies a is equal to how much, guys? Minus k divided by m. Minus k divided by m into x. Let me know if there is any doubt till this step. Minus kx divided by m. Correct? So once you get acceleration in terms of displacement, what are we supposed to do? Compare minus kx by m with whom? Minus omega square x. With minus omega square x. So once I do that, what is the value of omega square that I'm going to get? Omega square will be equal to k by m. So what is the value of omega? Root of k by m. But omega is 2 pi by t is equal to root of k by m. Then what will be the value of t, guys? T will be equal to 2 pi root of m divided by k. Got it? Yeah. So this is the time period of a spring and a block system. So here the contribution of spring is spring constant. The contribution of block is its mass. Done?
Sir.
So make a note of it. So with this, the main context of this chapter is over. There is nothing else that can be asked. Okay, we did problems also. Okay. So as I told you, this damped simple harmonic oscillations, they will not ask you. Okay, they cannot actually ask because all these expressions are given without a reason. It is not easy for you to remember also because all these are not there even for 12th standard. So I will just give you an outline of what is the meaning of damped. Okay, damped simple harmonic oscillation means, do you guys know what is the meaning of damped? See, if suppose I take a simple pendulum, I take it to this position and release. Okay, I take it to this position and release it. Let me call this distance as amplitude, or I will call this theta as the angular amplitude. It is a maximum angular displacement that is possible. Once I release this, what will happen is the pendulum will come on the other side to the same angle theta, right? Again, mg sin theta will start acting in this direction and it will go to the other side. And let's say it is again going back to the same value theta on the other side, here also mg sin theta. Now my question is this the way the pendulum is going to oscillate throughout? So will it be able to cover these angular displacements theta throughout its journey? Or will there be a decrease in the value that is going to take place? Guys, are you able to understand my question? I'm saying, is this simple pendulum going to be in oscillation throughout its life? Like let's say you're coming, you have put this in oscillation, let's say you're coming after 1 hour. If you look at it, do you think it is still going to oscillate?
No, sir.
Why? What will happen?
Theta will reduce to 0, sir.
Theta will reduce to 0 and there will be a particular point where
Restoring force will also be 0.
where the value of theta will become 0 after a particular point, means it will exactly come to its equilibrium position and stop. Right? There will be a particular position where there will be a particular time, let's say after 2 hours, it will come and stop like this. It will be still. It will not be oscillating anymore, right? So in the 2 hours process, what exactly has happened to it is, what has happened to it? Its amplitude has got damped. So damping means what? The decrease in amplitude, and the decrease in amplitude will obviously happen because of whom? Because of a resistive force acting on the system, and that resistive force is what is given here. This is the only thing you can know. Guys, are you able to understand? So to put it in simple terms, if you want to understand what is the meaning of damping, what is it? Damping means decrease in amplitude of any oscillation. That's it. So next time onwards, if I ask you what is the meaning of damping, you just need to use the word amplitude and decrease in its value. That's it. Okay.
I have a doubt.
Similar.
So this damping is used only for oscillations, sir? Like in case of
Oscillations, see.
pendulum alone.
Okay. If you want me to give a more specific example, let's say you're here. Okay. Your friend is here. Okay. You speak to him with a particular volume. Okay. You're not shouting. You're just talking to him normally. Let's say the distance between you both is x. If your friend, let's say he goes few meters away and he stands here, do you think if you try to speak with the same intensity in the sense same amount of volume, do you think your voice will be able to reach him as clearly as it happened at this point?
No, sir.
Okay. Why is it happening?
It's distance increase. It's no longer
Distance is increasing and there is a lot of absorption taking place in the medium. And if you want me to answer the same question technically, I will say the amplitude of your voice, that is the loudness of your voice, has got damped. Okay. So what you need to do for your voice to reach him, you definitely need to start shouting. Shouting means you're increasing your loudness. Increasing your loudness means increasing your amplitude. So damping has something to do with which parameter? You tell me now.
amplitude.
Amplitude of anything. It can be an oscillation or it can be a wave.
Okay, sir. I understood.
Got
Thank
it?
you, sir.
Yeah. So since it is given in this chapter, I'm just trying to explain with the context of oscillation. But damping can be anywhere. See, for example, we use communication system. Why do we use a mobile phone to speak for a person from here to somewhere else? Because your voice obviously can't travel, no? If you want to speak somewhere to someone in the, let's say in the next state, you have to either shout, or even sometimes even if you shout, your voice will not reach, right? Because there is something called as damping happening, right?
Yes.
So major application of this damping will actually take place in communication systems. Okay, here they have spoken in terms of damped simple harmonic motion, just to bring in all these second degree equations. These are all called as differential equations, which obviously I cannot explain it now because you'll get confused. If at all they explain it in your school, you let me know. I will give you the outline. That's it. Okay, if I do all these things, you will unnecessarily get confused. This graph I will explain if you want to see. Initially, there is an amplitude existing. Amplitude means distance from the bottom to this portion. As the amplitude keeps decreasing with time, this kind of a motion is what is called as damping. So damping goes on increasing successively from the curve A to D. That's the meaning. Okay. If you know this, this is more than sufficient. Similarly, forced oscillation and resonance will make more sense in the next chapter. That time I'll explain. Okay. Resonance concept will make more sense in the next chapter. I'll explain it there. So with this chapter is over. Is there any other doubt that you people have? Any other concept that is not clear?
No, sir.
Okay. See, since this chapter is important, okay, so today is Wednesday, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. See, these 4 days are actually sufficient. I'm going to conduct a test only based on derivations. Okay. I can say derivations and problems which I taught in the class. So practice all those. This chapter is important. Okay.
Sir, all derivations are only this chapter
Sir,
derivations, sir.
of
Only this chapter.
or
Only this chapter.
okay,
Only
sir.
this chapter. No, not all derivations. That's
Okay,
not
okay.
possible. Only this chapter derivations and all the problems that I discuss in the class. I'll not ask anything outside that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And all the derivation. Okay. This week we can have a test on Sunday in the morning from 10 to 11:30.
Mark, sir.
Mark I have to decide, because I cannot give it to standard marks. It might be a 25 marks or anything. But 10 o'clock will be the test. Don't worry about end time.
Okay, sir.
Let's say if it is only a 20 marks test, I'll do it only for 45 minutes, something like that. That depends on how I set the paper. Your work is only to study and be ready. That's it. I've told you what is going to come. Okay. That's it from my side, guys. Just wait for a minute.